Hello, welcome back. If you've made it this far, made it to the last one. That one's definitely for sure. It's been a long day, but I know there's been a lot of exciting things we've spoken about here on this desk. We're going to try and cover in this session a little bit of a recap of the launches and services that have been most exciting to us over today. Let's just get into it. I mean, well, 1 second, sorry, I'm jumping the gun on myself here. We're actually live not just on Twitch, but on LinkedIn Live as well. So from wherever you're tuning in, hello, welcome. Love to see those comments in chat. If you're in Twitch, we have a screen where we'd love to get those answered here up on stage, so any input definitely appreciated. Why don't we pass it down the aisle? We should actually all introduce ourselves and then talk about the services that we thought were most exciting. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
Well, I'm Nick Walsh. I'm a technical evangelist at AWS.
I'm Marcia. I'm a technical evangelist at AWS as well.
I'm Alejandra, yet again another evangelist at AWS.
Same thing. So I'm John, and I'm from Canada, though, so I need to mention that with my nice shirt, so I can represent for once.
Maybe we should say which countries are we coming from, so we
Right?
are more original than saying a technical
More so.
evangelist. Yeah.
I'm from Mexico.
I'm from Uruguay.
I'm from New York.
That's a country?
If you're from New York, you know it's a country.
Okay.
Anyway, so all jokes aside, let's get into it. Lots of exciting launches today. Does anyone have anything they feel really passionate about that is just they're teeming with excitement for?
I know that I'm excited about finally having Amplify for iOS and Android development. I originally came from a front-end development background, and so for me, transitioning to back-end was definitely like a learning curve. And so Amplify is one of those services that I think really speaks to front-end developers. And so now seeing that it's also available for iOS and Android developers is so cool.
Before we jump into any of the other ones, there have been a lot of exciting Amplify launches today. So in addition to the iOS and Android native SDKs, we also launched Data Store, which is actually like a really cool concept. So what it basically enables you to do is, like Alejandro mentioned, you have the ability to now manage state on the client side and actually sync that with a cloud database, and that's all kind of handled automatically for you with a GraphQL resolver right in the middle. So there's a database that lives on device, it's an SQLite database, it's out of the way, you don't have to think about it, and you can connect it to a cloud database and it syncs that state in real time. Really exciting stuff, especially for mobile developers.
Sure.
What about you?
Yeah. No, so one of the things I'm excited about is the group managed service accounts that we've just added to the ECS side, so that ties with Active Directory. So one of the things with Active Directory itself is, well, with one of the things you do with applications that you do with Active Directory is you need to authenticate between these applications. And then when you do that authentication, you normally use service accounts, and then that's tied to the instance itself, the VM that is behind. In this case, when you use containers, you need to use something that is called group managed service accounts. And then now we support that with ECS, so that if you have two containers that need to authenticate and authorize between the two, you can now just pass a spec file towards when you create that container, and then now they can authenticate and authorize between those two containers themselves.
Wonderful. Just to me, this tells the story of reducing complexity, where we think sometimes application or container first. We want to be able to make sure that permissions are delegated directly to those containers instead of any other arbitrary underlying infrastructure.
Yeah, not having to hard code your credentials directly within your application, right? So
Definitely not security first if you're doing that. Before we move on, I just want to call one more Amplify launch because there were just a bunch of them. And it's on the same vein of iOS and Android. It's actually predictions for iOS. So within the iOS ecosystem, if you want to develop native local models for iOS, you need to use this framework developed by Apple called CoreML. And so with predictions, which is an abstraction layer over the AI services that we offer, Amplify enables you to have interoperability in a seamless fashion between our AI services and CoreML models. So we've had our engineers go and basically build out analogs for those two elements that you can hand off really easily. And that's really valuable if you go from an online-offline session. So say you don't have internet access, you can't call the cloud anymore, you may want to directly perform that inference on device. And this predictions for iOS functionality for Amplify is exactly going to enable that functionality.
And even what I heard is that even if you finds, like CoreML finds, let's say 4 objects within that picture, and then recognition finds, I don't know, 5 of them, now it figures out and merges the results together to figure out, well, which one of these objects were together. So yeah, really interoperability that.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is actually
Between the
something Matt Wood touched on this in one of the keynotes, I believe. He mentioned that one of the dirty secrets of machine learning is that the most performant models are not just one model. It's a bunch of models working in tandem in what's called an ensemble. And so this is just another really interesting and unique take on the ensemble approach for machine learning. So very exciting to see that.
You're so excited about Amplify, but I'm so excited about serverless and Lambdas and all those announcements that were the week before reInvent and the ones that are coming little by little in these days. So today, if you were tuned before this session, there were the guys from the Lambda team talking about a lot of the launches. So I want to demo one. But first, I want to talk about a little bit of it. It's the Lightweight API Gateway. So before we were having this API Gateway that was bringing a lot of functionality to the stage, but our customers basically just want to have the low latency, fast responses, and the new HTTP API Gateway flavor allows to do that. So we can have 71 savings on the cost of API Gateway and 50% lower latency than with the traditional REST endpoints. So this is just optimized for serverless backends and things like that. So if you put my screen, I can show you the demo. I want to show you how simple and easy is to do it with SAM. That is like basically changing one line of code. So that's what I want to show you if the demo is on. I don't know.
Yeah, so while we're waiting for the demo to come up over here, you mentioned SAM, so serverless application model.
Serverless application model. So if you're making serverless applications, you need to use SAM or some kind of framework to create your infrastructure. So SAM will help you with all the infrastructure for your serverless application. So that's kind of super simple to create your functions, your API gateways, your Dynamo tables, whatever resources you need. You can do it with SAM. You can add the CloudFormation because it's extensible with CloudFormation, so it's quite cool. But my demo is still not in the screen, so I don't know.
All right, we'll switch back to the demo in a second. Whenever that pops up, we'll pivot back to it. But another one quick launch that was also really exciting to me that I saw. So Amazon Kinesis video streams. This will launch.
Oh, my demo is there.
All right, I'll get back to Kinesis in a bit. Let's go into the demo.
Yes. So this is a very simple application. It has a function, and this function is triggered by an HTTP gateway. So before this launch, here it says API. And that was calling the traditional flavor of REST endpoints on API Gateway. So now I just add HTTP API, and I say the path and the method I want to have this endpoint pointing. And then I deploy this, and voila, I have an API Gateway with the HTTP flavor. So when we deploy this, it's so simple that you should go and do it right now. When you deploy this, you will see this new screen in API Gateway. And here you can see the API name and the API ID as you had before for API Gateway. And here you can see the protocol, HTTP, as always. And by default, you don't have to define the stage. It will define the default stage, so no need to worry about that. You can find the invoke URL in here, and you can call your endpoint from Postman, for example. I have it here. I have the URL that I just got from the console. And this is my method, and I just do send, and my endpoint is being called. So it's pretty simple way to call, like we were doing before. And we can see here that it has some features, like we are all familiar, the roads. Oh, internet. The roads will show you the different paths and the methods. And you can define some authorizations, so you will not have, I will not continue clicking here because my internet, thank you, my internet is dead. But you can find authorizers. The authorizers are not as complex as the one that you have with the normal HTTP REST endpoints for API Gateway, but you can have normal tokens machines giving you tokens, and you can add that as an authorizer. You can configure it with cores, and you can integrate it not only with Lambdas, but other different integrations with different resources. Does HTTP use the same event objects as Lambda? It's a similar one. You will find a little bit different parameters there. But yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that some people may have jumped in midway through the demo. So to recap what Marcy just showed.
What I just showed is the new lightweight version of API Gateway, the HTTP flavor of it. It's basically faster, it's cheaper, and it has a reduced amount of features from the normal HTTP gateway, API Gateway, sorry. But it does most of everything we need as backend developers for serverless applications. So.
Yeah, again, giving customers choice, right?
Exactly.
You may want the fully featured, cost-effective, but higher priced API gateway, or you could go with the leaner HTTP API.
So you can find more information from this launch in the web post, in the blog post, and I think the previous session had quite a lot of information and will be available on video on demand later on, so you can also check it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've got a few other quick ones that I'm going to geek out over. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
And please contribute, jump in, cut me off, do what have you. So I talked a little bit before about Amazon Kinesis video streams. So typically what this involved is opening a WebSocket connection for one-way communication of video data. So there's a lot of ways that with this as a primitive, you can build applications. And if you wanted to do something like a two-way call, you typically open up two one-directional WebSockets in opposing directions. But because there are so many instances in which you're not just trying to send data in one direction, where you are doing it bidirectionally, the Kinesis video streams team actually just launched today real-time two-way WebSockets using WebRTC. So very exciting if you're building anything from like one-on-one audio or video conversations, or you already have two one-way connections that appear in real time and are opposing one another. This is just going to be a direct upgrade and probably saving a lot of money.
Like a doorbell, right?
Doorbell is probably a good, yeah.
Both ways, I'm trying to see the person. Yeah, obviously.
Exactly.
That's a good use case. So
yeah. So excited to see what customers are doing with this one. Another one that's really exciting to me is Amazon Neptune. So this is a service that I think people don't geek out enough over. Graph databases are so cool for so many reasons. But one of the hard parts about understanding graph databases is sort of like the model. It's very new, it's not new, but it's like a different concept for people to grok. First, people understand SQL or relational, and then they move to NoSQL, and they get that, and they're like, all right, I'm out of the weeds. And then the graph comes in and just flips the table, right? But the idea is that with the newest launch for the in-console workbench, it makes it a lot easier for you to query that graph using the unique types of querying syntaxes like Sparkle, Gremlin, Apache Tinkerpop, and what have you, so that you don't have to instantiate and manage your database and then use an external tool or a CLI just to be able to perform some basic operations with it.
So it uses a notebook instance, right? So notebook instance from SageMaker, and then from within there, your connections that you're doing, your tests that you're doing from within the console, you're all authenticated within that notebook to make your calls. So then you don't have to do it or open up your Neptune from the internet or try to figure out a way into an in-situ instance to make your call. So you do it all from that notebook instance.
Yeah, does it involve a notebook? I didn't actually get a chance to use it. Oh, that's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, if you're familiar with Jupyter Notebooks or you write Python, you'll be right at home there, being able to interact with it.
I feel like John should have done a demo on this. He clearly knows a lot about it.
There have been so many launches. I mean, it's hard enough for us to keep track of all of them. Don't know if that's coming in over the stream audio, but we've got a loud announcement here. Last one that I wanted to geek out on, and I think all of us will appreciate in some way, shape, or form, is that Amazon Chime actually released integrations with a meetings app for Slack. So what this enables you to do is if you are an organization that is using Chime as your directory and communications module, but maybe your team has a Slack team also, right, for whatever purposes. You can now, in Slack, install the Chime integration or application directly into it, and then set Chime as the default calling protocol. So you can have Chime calls directly through Slack, and you can set it to be the default, too. So it takes all of the guesswork out of it.
And as a Slack lover, that announcement made me very happy.
Yeah.
And Slack has a lot of really cool integrations with Amazon Lex, for example. So now you can connect Chime to bots on, I don't know. I'm imagining all the cool stuff I could do with Lex. I don't know. Just came in my head when I was talking about this.
Awesome. I didn't know that.
And you don't have to really choose one or the other.
No.
You can use Chime at your organization, have Slack for a small team, use the vast library of extensions and third-party integrations that exist on Slack, and still have Chime as the sort of backbone of it. So
I have one small thing I want to nerd out about again, even though I know this probably got mentioned already, but I was excited when I heard about AWS Deep Composer. I mean, am I the only one excited
No,
about
I'm
that
very
one?
excited. I'm not musical at all, so I want to get my hands into a deep composer, try to make music, and if that music comes good, then the machine learns.
It's a magical. Like I play the piano. I played the piano since I was 4 years old, and so I saw that announcement. I thought, what? And I remember as a kid thinking, like, I want to get better at composing. I wasn't very good at it. I'm like, what? Why didn't they have Deep Composer back then? That could have helped me so much.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, who's the target audience for this? And then I thought, wait, I do a lot with machine learning. I have no idea how to play the piano. I think I'm the person that would really enjoy this.
And I like toys.
Oh, yeah, I mean, again, we launched Deep Racer in years past. Now we have Deep Composer. We have lots of exciting updates to even Deep Racer this year with LiDAR and depth sensors as well.
Yep.
So the IoT offering of integrated AI products continues to grow. We started with Deep Lens years ago. Deep Racer continues to be updated. We actually have the Deep Racer championships that'll be occurring here at reInvent.
Yeah.
And in all the summits.
And at all the summits, exactly.
Not just one car, but now multiple cars racing.
And
That is
objects
so
being
different.
dropped, right?
Yes,
So-
and stereoscopic
Yeah.
views to your car.
Yes.
So,
So more collisions. That's what we're going to see. Ooh.
We're becoming just like real racing, where there's different racing classes for different types of vehicles, and we're going to have...
So NASCAR, is that what that's?
The day NASCAR releases an autonomous driving class, I think anyone who has done Deep Racer will be severely at an advantage to take home the
but
trophy.
I saw that they launched that you can create your own track, so you can compete in your user groups or in your company and have like leaderboards and things like that.
And there's different colors for your garage now,
Oh.
apparently, which I thought was pretty cool.
Nice.
Huh.
It's just crazy. And then yes, if you don't have the actual physical car, doesn't mean you have to miss out. You can still join the virtual league, so that's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
So many cool things.
Yeah, too many to keep track of. If you want to be able to follow along with all of them, or you've missed some of them, I know I'm going to be checking up on it. You have the AWS What's New blog, where you can actually see a rapid-fire list of all the launches sorted by date. I know Andy Jassy announced many services and launches in his keynote yesterday. We've had a few in the keynote today, but we've been launching them, some here on the Launchpad desk, some in sessions here at reInvent. And those videos will be out in the next few days. But if you want to follow along with all those blog posts as soon as services are alive and launched, check out the AWS What's New blog.
And we are in the middle of the week. It's Wednesday.
It's
so-
only Wednesday, right?
Only Wednesday, so more
Yeah, I
things are
can't
coming
believe
up.
it. So tomorrow, I can't wait.
We have Werner's keynote tonight.
I know, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that'll be a good
Yeah.
one.
Wonderful segue. I couldn't have scripted it better myself, but
know. I'm
basically,
very good at this.
You're the pro, right? So looking forward onward to tomorrow, third day of reInvent, Thursday, we have Werner's keynote at 8:30 a.m. You can tune in right here on Twitch, twitch.tv/AWS. Some of you may be following along on LinkedIn Live. I believe the keynote will be streamed there, but I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. Regardless, if you go to the AWS keynotes page, type it into your search engine of choice and find that, there will be direct links to the stream either on an official AWS page or on twitch.tv/AWS. But if I must say, I'll be a little partial here. Tune on Twitch, because then you'll be right on the page where we will be going live immediately after to do a keynote recap and lots of more exciting feature launches.
And we will
all
be
through
hanging
tomorrow.
out in the comments and Bill,
Yeah.
And also answering questions,
Answering
right?
questions.
We're
Exactly.
answering questions live. So,
or asking
yeah.
questions. I don't know.
Yeah.
Answering,
Entering,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah.
kind of trying to answer them. Yeah.
Wonderful. So lots of good stuff. Again, one last shout out. So we have been partnering with 3 Square Food Bank. They're a local food program here in the Southern Nevada area. Again, reInvent being in Las Vegas. And they are partnering to help end hunger by taking donations and funds and putting meals on the table for folks. And so one of the critical parts of participating now is that we actually have multiple other partner organizations that are matching donations here. So for every $1 that you donate, there's another $1 that will be matched. And due to the extreme efficiencies of this organization, for every $1, 94% of that goes directly to food on the table. And they've broken it down. They say that for every $1 that gets donated during this event, 6 meals get put on the table. So a really great value proposition. Again, info on that is in the extension down below. You can also type !donate in Twitch chat to learn more about that. But I think with that, we're about done here from the expo floor at the Venetian.
But we see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow here on twitch.tv/AWS
Yes.
at 8:30 a.m. for Werner's keynote.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Awesome.
We'll see you tomorrow, everyone.
Yeah.